Welcome to Unsolved Historical Mysteries. The mystery of the metal sphere and the man who vanished into thin air. Chapter 1. The Mysterious Incident. Section 1. A quiet day in Norway disrupted. Norway, a land known for its serene landscapes and peaceful towns, rarely finds itself at the center of global intrigue. Yet, on a seemingly ordinary day in the 1980s, a small village in the northern region became the backdrop for one of the strangest mysteries in modern history. The air was cold and crisp, as it often is in this part of the world. Residents were going about their daily routines, fishing, tending to livestock, and preparing for the long winter months, when something completely out of the ordinary shattered the calm. It began with a loud, unidentifiable noise, described by witnesses as a metallic screech, followed by a low, resonating hum. Those who heard it rushed outside, scanning the sky for an explanation. Some thought it might have been a malfunctioning aircraft, while others speculated it could be a meteor breaking apart in the atmosphere. But no wreckage or flaming debris was found, and the noise seemed to have come from nowhere. Then, a strange object appeared in the fields just outside the village. Described as a perfectly smooth, metallic sphere, it measured roughly 1 meter in diameter and reflected the surroundings with an almost unnatural clarity. The sphere seemed to have no visible seams, openings, or marks, as though it had been crafted in a single piece by a technology far beyond anything known at the time. News of the strange object spread quickly, and curious onlookers began gathering at the site. As the villagers examined the sphere, something even more perplexing occurred. A local man, whose name has since been lost in the fog of history, stepped forward to take a closer look. Witnesses recall him touching the object and then suddenly staggering backward, his expression frozen in shock. Before anyone could react, the man collapsed to the ground. By the time someone reached him, he was gone, not dead, but physically missing. There was no sign of him, no tracks leading away from the site. He had, quite literally, disappeared into thin air. The combination of the eerie sound, the sudden appearance of the sphere, and the inexplicable disappearance of the man left the villagers in a state of shock. Some believed they had witnessed a supernatural event, while others feared it was the result of a dangerous experiment gone wrong. Whatever the cause, it was clear that this was no ordinary day in Norway. Section 2. Discovery of the metal sphere. As the initial shock began to settle, the villagers who had gathered around the metallic sphere were left with an overwhelming sense of unease. The object sat silently in the field, reflecting the dim Norwegian sunlight as though it were alive. No one dared to touch it, after witnessing the mysterious disappearance of the man just moments earlier. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before, too perfect, too unnatural, and too mysterious to ignore. Soon, whispers began to spread among the crowd. What was it? Some speculated that it might be a secret military weapon, perhaps dropped accidentally during a covert operation. Others claimed it was an alien artifact, something left behind by visitors from another world. A few, more pragmatic individuals, suggested it could be an elaborate hoax or some kind of new scientific invention. Regardless of the theory, one thing was clear: the sphere's sudden appearance and the events surrounding it were far from ordinary. The sphere itself was mesmerizing. Its surface was not only smooth but unnervingly flawless, almost as though it defied the natural laws of physics. Attempts to describe it always seemed to fall short. It was as though words could not fully capture its alien nature. The material felt cold to the touch, according to one brave villager who hesitated for a moment before quickly pulling back. What made it even more puzzling was the lack of any visible seams, buttons, or markings that could suggest its function or origin. It looked as though it had been forged from a single, solid piece of metal by hands, or perhaps machines, far more advanced than anything humanity had developed. As the day wore on, the sphere seemed to attract not only the villagers but also the attention of nearby towns and, eventually, regional authorities. By evening, the area was cordoned off by the local police. They were unsure of how to proceed. Having no precedent for an incident like this, the officers approached the sphere with both caution and curiosity. They examined it from every angle, took photographs, and even attempted to move it, but the object remained stubbornly in place, as though rooted to the ground. The villagers watched with bated breath, as one officer attempted to lift it with a metal rod. Despite its relatively small size, the sphere would not budge. It felt impossibly heavy, far beyond what its dimensions should allow. Theories about advanced technology or otherworldly materials gained further traction as scientists and engineers were called to examine the site. Even the military began to take an interest, though their involvement would lead to more questions than answers in the days to come. With the site now under investigation, rumors began to swirl. Some claimed that they saw strange lights in the sky the night before the object appeared, while others insisted that the sound they had heard was not of this earth. These stories, combined with the sphere's unsettling properties, created a frenzy of speculation that extended far beyond the small Norwegian village. For the locals, however, one question stood out above all the others. Could the disappearance of the man and the arrival of the sphere be connected? Section 3. A man disappears into thin air. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, the mysterious sphere in the Norwegian field continued to draw curious onlookers. Among them was a local man, a farmer well known to the community for his practical nature. While many villagers kept their distance, uneasy after witnessing the sphere's strange properties, this man stepped forward, determined to get a closer look. Perhaps he thought he could make sense of what was happening, or perhaps his curiosity outweighed his caution. Whatever the case, his decision would mark the turning point of this already bizarre event. Eyewitnesses describe the man walking up to the sphere with a calm yet resolute demeanor. As he reached out to touch the surface, several villagers shouted warnings, urging him to stop. Ignoring the pleas, he placed his hand firmly against the cold, reflective metal. For a brief moment, nothing happened. The air around him seemed unnervingly still, and the crowd held their breath in anticipation. Then, everything changed. The man's expression shifted to one of shock and confusion. As his body appeared to vibrate ever so slightly, a faint, low-pitched hum resonated from the sphere, growing louder with each passing second. Before anyone could react, the man let out a sharp gasp and staggered backward, clutching his chest as though something unseen had struck him. He fell to the ground, motionless. Several villagers rushed forward, but as they approached, something even more inexplicable occurred. The man's body began to shimmer, almost as if it were dissolving into thin air. In a matter of seconds, he was gone, vanished completely, leaving no trace behind. The grass where he had fallen was untouched, and there were no signs of struggle or physical disturbance. It was as if he had simply been erased from existence. The crowd erupted into chaos. Cries of disbelief and fear filled the air, as people scrambled to make sense of what they had just witnessed. Some fell to their knees, praying for answers, while others fled the scene entirely, unwilling to stay near the sphere for another moment. Theories and accusations flew wildly. Some claimed it was a punishment from the heavens, while others whispered that the man had been taken by extraterrestrial beings. As night fell, the sphere remained in its place, cold and unyielding. The disappearance of the man became the talk of not just the village, but eventually the entire region. Local authorities, now fully involved in the case, were at a loss. There was no evidence to suggest foul play, yet no rational explanation could account for what had happened. The incident defied logic, leaving both officials and villagers with more questions than answers. Chapter 2: Witness Accounts and Strange Evidence. Section 1: Eyewitness Testimonies. In the days following the mysterious events, the villagers who witnessed the disappearance of the man and the arrival of the sphere became the center of attention. Investigators, journalists, and even curious travelers descended upon the small Norwegian community, eager to hear first-hand accounts of what had happened. Each eyewitness described the incident with striking consistency, yet their words only deepened the mystery. Many recalled the loud, metallic screech that first drew them outside. One elderly woman vividly described the sound as unlike anything natural, comparing it to a machine tearing apart the very fabric of the air. Another man, a local fisherman, insisted that he saw a faint streak of light in the sky moments before the sphere appeared, though no other witnesses confirmed this detail. As for the sphere itself, descriptions of its appearance and properties were eerily uniform. Nearly all witnesses agreed that the object looked impossibly smooth, as if it were not crafted, but somehow grown in its flawless form. Some claimed it emitted a faint glow during the night, though others dismissed this as the reflection of moonlight on its metallic surface. The most chilling testimony, however, came from those closest to the vanished man. His wife, who had arrived at the scene just moments after he disappeared, was overcome with grief and fear. He was standing right there. She sobbed during an interview with local reporters. "I saw him touch it, and then he was just gone. Like he was pulled out of this world." Her words sent shivers through the village and beyond, fueling speculation about what truly happened that day. One witness, a schoolteacher, offered a curious observation. She claimed that just before the man vanished, the air around him seemed to ripple, as if the space itself was distorting. It was as though he was standing in a heat wave, but the air was cold, she explained. This strange distortion, combined with the faint hum from the sphere, convinced some that the event was not of earthly origin. Despite their shared experiences, the villagers found little solace in retelling their stories. Many expressed regret for being at the site, fearing they had witnessed something forbidden or unnatural. Some even began to avoid the field entirely, worried that the sphere might bring further harm. As the accounts spread beyond the village, they became the foundation of an unsolved mystery that would haunt the region for decades to come. Section 2: The sphere's bizarre features. The sphere's unusual properties quickly became the focal point of the investigation. From the moment it appeared, it was clear that this was no ordinary object. Witnesses who dared to approach the sphere described its surface as unnaturally smooth, lacking any scratches, dents, or imperfections that might suggest it had been formed through conventional means. It felt cold to the touch, as though it absorbed heat rather than reflecting it, even under direct sunlight. What puzzled observers the most was the sphere's apparent weight. Despite its relatively small size, attempts to move it proved entirely futile. The local police brought in a small crane to lift the object, but even with mechanical assistance, the sphere remained completely immovable, as though it were anchored to the earth itself. Some theorized that it had an immense density, while others speculated it was somehow locked in place by forces unseen. Another mystery was the sphere's material. Early tests conducted by scientists at the site were inconclusive. The surface was resistant to scratches, heat, and even acid, making it impossible to obtain a sample for analysis. Some claimed it was a type of metal unknown to humanity, while skeptics argued it could be a highly advanced alloy created through secretive means. Whatever the truth, the material only added to the sphere's mystique. Perhaps the most unsettling feature was its interaction with its surroundings. Some villagers reported hearing faint, intermittent, humming noises emanating from the sphere, particularly at night. Others described a strange effect on nearby electronic devices. Radios, for example, would produce static when brought within a certain distance of the object, while compasses spun erratically as though the sphere was emitting a magnetic field. These phenomena convinced some that the sphere was not just an inert object, but a functional device of unknown purpose. Despite these strange properties, the authorities were hesitant to escalate their investigation. Fear of the unknown gripped even the most rational minds, with some officials quietly suggesting that the sphere should be left alone. Scientists who examined it grew increasingly frustrated with their lack of progress, and their reports often contradicted one another, further clouding the situation. Was this object an artifact of advanced human engineering? Or could it be evidence of something far more extraordinary? For the villagers, these questions were less important than the growing sense of unease that surrounded the sphere. Some avoided it entirely, while others kept a watchful eye on the site, hoping for answers that never seemed to come. Meanwhile, the sphere continued to sit in its silent, immovable state, as if waiting for the next chapter in its mysterious story to unfold. Section 3: Initial reactions from local authorities. When local authorities first arrived at the scene, they were met with a situation unlike anything they had ever encountered. The mysterious sphere, the disappearance of a man, and the growing crowd of frightened villagers created an atmosphere of tension and confusion. The officers, unprepared for such an extraordinary event, could do little more than secure the area and try to maintain order. The lead officer on site, a seasoned lawman with decades of experience, was the first to approach the sphere. Like many others, he was struck by its flawless appearance and unnatural stillness. After several minutes of examination, he ordered his team to rope off the area, warning villagers to keep their distance. The officer later admitted in an interview that he had felt an inexplicable sense of dread while standing near the object, describing it as a presence that didn't belong. Local authorities quickly realized they were out of their depth. They contacted regional experts, including scientists from a nearby university, to assess the situation. However, the first team of researchers who arrived seemed as perplexed as the officers themselves. One physicist, who had been asked to measure the sphere's magnetic properties, remarked that the object seemed to defy known scientific principles. "It's as if it exists in its own set of rules," he said, frustrated by his inability to gather useful data. The disappearance of the man added another layer of urgency to the case. Without any evidence of foul play, the police were hesitant to label it a criminal incident. Instead, they treated it as a missing persons case. Though this approach did little to reassure the villagers, several officers privately speculated that the sphere and the man's disappearance were linked, but they were reluctant to voice such theories publicly for fear of sounding ridiculous. As news of the event spread, higher authorities became involved. Representatives from the Norwegian government quietly visited the site, though their findings were never disclosed to the public. Some locals believed that the government was deliberately withholding information, while others suspected that they were just as baffled as everyone else. Rumors also began to circulate about the military's potential involvement. Villagers claimed to have seen unmarked vehicles in the area, though these reports were never confirmed. Despite the increased attention, the mystery only deepened. The authorities made no progress in explaining the sphere's origin or purpose, and the missing man was never found. Frustrated and overwhelmed, the police eventually scaled back their presence, leaving the site largely unmonitored. This decision angered the villagers, who felt abandoned in the face of something they could not understand. By the end of the first week, it was clear that the sphere was not just an object of local intrigue, but a puzzle with implications far beyond the quiet Norwegian village. Yet, for all the efforts of the authorities, no answers were forthcoming, and the case remained as enigmatic as ever. Chapter 3: Scientific Investigations. Section 1: What experts discovered about the sphere. When the first team of scientists arrived at the site, their curiosity was palpable. The metallic sphere posed a challenge that defied conventional understanding, and the mystery surrounding it drew researchers from multiple disciplines. However, their early attempts to study the object only deepened the confusion. Initial tests focused on the sphere's physical properties. Using advanced equipment, scientists measured its surface temperature, density, and conductivity. They were astonished to find that the sphere's surface remained uniformly cold, regardless of the surrounding temperature. Even after being exposed to direct sunlight for hours, it retained its icy chill. Attempts to take a sample from the sphere were equally baffling. Tools that could cut through the hardest known materials failed to leave so much as a scratch, leading experts to speculate that the sphere was composed of an unknown, indestructible substance. One of the most perplexing discoveries involved the sphere's weight. Despite its relatively small size, the object was impossibly heavy. Calculations suggested that its density was far beyond that of any known element, yet it did not sink into the soft soil beneath it. This apparent contradiction puzzled physicists, some of whom theorized that the sphere might be generating its own gravitational field, though such a phenomenon had never been observed before. Electromagnetic tests yielded similarly strange results. The sphere emitted no detectable signals, yet it appeared to interfere with nearby electronic devices. Radios crackled with static when brought within a certain range, and compasses spun wildly, refusing to align with the Earth's magnetic field. Some researchers speculated that the sphere might be surrounded by a localized energy field, though its purpose and origin remained a mystery. One of the more daring experiments involved using sound waves to map the sphere's internal structure. To everyone's surprise, the results indicated that the sphere was hollow. However, there were no visible seams or entry points, leaving scientists to wonder how such a structure could have been created. The data also suggested that something was inside the sphere, though its nature could not be determined. This revelation sparked heated debates among the researchers. Was the sphere a vessel, a storage device, or perhaps even a form of communication from another world? Despite their best efforts, the scientific community was unable to reach a consensus. The sphere defied every theory and model they applied, leaving them with more questions than answers. The frustration was palpable among the researchers, many of whom admitted that they had never encountered an object so resistant to analysis. "It's as if it's mocking us," one scientist remarked. "Every answer we think we've found just leads to another mystery." The lack of progress began to take its toll. Some scientists abandoned the project, unwilling to spend months chasing answers that seemed forever out of reach. Others became obsessed, convinced that the sphere held the key to understanding phenomena far beyond human comprehension. For the villagers, the presence of these experts only added to the surreal nature of the situation. They watched from a distance as the scientists struggled to unlock the secrets of the sphere, hoping that one day, someone would finally unravel the truth. Section 2: Theories about the material's origin. As scientists continued to study the sphere, speculation about its material's origin became a topic of heated debate. Its indestructible surface, incredible density, and mysterious energy properties defied all known natural and man-made materials. This led to a growing belief among some researchers that the sphere could not have originated on Earth. One popular theory was that the sphere was made of a substance unknown to science, potentially originating from a distant star system. Supporters of this idea pointed to its resistance to heat, pressure, and physical damage, suggesting that such properties might only be achievable in extreme conditions, such as the core of a dying star. The material's perfection, with no visible seams or flaws, further fueled speculation that it was created by an advanced civilization. Others proposed that the sphere might not be extraterrestrial, but instead the product of secretive human experimentation. Could it have been part of a classified military project? Perhaps a prototype for advanced technology gone awry? Skeptics noted that the Cold War era saw rapid technological advancements, and it was possible that the sphere represented a failed or abandoned experiment. Meanwhile, a more fringe theory gained traction among conspiracy enthusiasts, that the sphere was a time capsule sent from Earth's distant future. According to this idea, the object contained advanced knowledge or artifacts meant to be rediscovered. While dismissed by mainstream scientists, the theory persisted, adding another layer of mystery to the already bizarre case. Despite these competing ideas, no single explanation could account for all of the sphere's characteristics. The lack of progress only deepened the intrigue, with some researchers admitting they might never fully understand its origins. For the villagers, the debate among experts only reinforced their belief that the sphere was something truly extraordinary, something not meant to be found. Section 3: Disputes among scientists. As the investigation into the sphere continued, tensions began to rise within the scientific community. The object's unexplainable properties sparked disagreements, not only about its origin, but also about the best approach to studying it. With no precedent for such a discovery, researchers found themselves divided into opposing camps. One group believed the sphere warranted immediate and aggressive analysis, arguing that its secrets could unlock unprecedented technological advancements. These scientists pushed for high-risk experiments, including the use of powerful lasers and explosives, to breach its impenetrable surface. They reasoned that only by directly accessing the sphere's interior could its purpose or origin be uncovered. Opposing them were those who advocated for caution. They feared that tampering with the object could trigger unintended consequences, such as releasing harmful substances or even destroying the sphere altogether. This group pointed to the disappearance of the man as a warning, urging patience and restraint until more non-invasive methods could be developed. "This isn't just an object," one cautious scientist stated. "It could be a message or a trap." The disagreements extended beyond methodology. While some researchers clung to the belief that the sphere was extraterrestrial, others remained skeptical, favoring earthly explanations. The lack of hard evidence to support either theory created frustration on both sides. Heated debates often turned personal, with accusations of bias or incompetence becoming alarmingly common. Adding to the conflict was the involvement of government representatives. Some scientists alleged that officials were withholding critical data, possibly gathered from similar incidents elsewhere. Rumors of military interference circulated, with claims that the sphere might have been confiscated and relocated for classified study. These suspicions further fractured the research effort, as distrust grew among the teams. In the end, the disputes hindered progress, with resources spread thin and cooperation dwindling. The investigation reached a standstill for the villagers who had witnessed the sphere's arrival. This inaction was both confusing and disheartening. They had hoped the experts would bring clarity, but instead, they were left with even more unanswered questions. Chapter 4: Connections to UFO Sightings. Section 1: Nearby UFO Activity during the time. The mysterious sphere's arrival and the events surrounding it did not occur in isolation. In the weeks leading up to the incident, several reports of unusual activity in the skies above Norway began to surface. Witnesses from nearby towns described seeing strange lights darting across the night sky, moving in patterns that defied conventional aircraft behavior. These sightings, initially dismissed as meteors or experimental military flights, took on new significance after the appearance of the sphere. One of the most compelling accounts came from a group of hikers who were camping in a remote forest, roughly 50 kilometers from the village. They claimed to have seen a glowing orb, hovering silently above the treetops late at night. According to their description, the object emitted a faint, blue light and moved with incredible speed before vanishing into the horizon. While the hikers assumed they had witnessed a natural phenomenon, the timing of their sighting became a critical detail once the sphere was discovered. Local fishermen also reported seeing unusual reflections on the water, describing them as circular patterns of light that seemed to pulse rhythmically. These sightings were often accompanied by a low-frequency, humming sound, similar to what the villagers reported hearing when the sphere appeared. Though skeptics argued that these accounts could be attributed to atmospheric conditions or electrical interference, the similarities between the descriptions were difficult to ignore. Adding to the intrigue, declassified military documents from the time revealed that Norway's Air Force had scrambled jets to investigate unidentified objects in the area. While the official reports concluded that these objects were likely weather balloons or radar anomalies, some pilots privately admitted that what they encountered was far stranger. One aviator described seeing a metallic object that resembled a spinning top, which accelerated and disappeared before he could get close enough to identify it. These sightings, when combined with the sphere's inexplicable properties, led many to believe that the two were connected. Theories about extraterrestrial involvement gained traction, with some suggesting that the sphere was either a probe or a piece of advanced technology left behind by visiting spacecraft. For UFO enthusiasts, the case became a cornerstone of their belief that Earth had been visited by intelligent life. While no definitive link between the UFO sightings and the sphere could be established, the parallels were hard to dismiss. To the villagers and researchers, it felt as though the skies were watching, and that the sphere was the key to unraveling a larger mystery. Section 2: Theories about extraterrestrial involvement. As news of the sphere spread, many began to speculate that it was evidence of extraterrestrial activity. Theories ranged from the plausible to the fantastical, with each attempt to explain the sphere's origin, adding another layer of intrigue to the mystery. For those who believed in the possibility of intelligent life beyond Earth, the sphere was a tantalizing clue, one that hinted at contact with beings far more advanced than humanity. One popular theory was that the sphere was an alien probe, sent to Earth to collect data or observe human behavior. Its seamless design, indestructible material, and unexplainable weight were cited as proof of advanced technology that exceeded anything humans could create. Supporters of this idea pointed to similar sightings around the world, suggesting that such objects might have been visiting Earth for centuries. Another theory proposed that the sphere was a form of extraterrestrial communication. Advocates of this idea argued that its strange properties, such as its interaction with electronic devices and its possible hollow interior, were clues to its purpose. They believed the sphere might contain encoded messages, or even artifacts meant to be deciphered by those capable of understanding them. The disappearance of the man, some speculated, could have been the result of an attempted interaction gone wrong. Skeptics, however, raised questions about these claims. They argued that if the sphere was truly extraterrestrial, why would it appear in such an obscure location? Why would advanced beings choose a remote Norwegian village as the site of their visit? Detractors suggested that the sphere might be a hoax or a secret experiment, with its strange characteristics exaggerated by rumors and fear. Despite the skepticism, the sphere's connection to UFO sightings could not be easily dismissed. The reports of glowing orbs and erratic lights in the sky, combined with the object's sudden appearance, painted a picture that seemed too coincidental to ignore. Even some scientists, who were initially reluctant to entertain the idea of extraterrestrial involvement, admitted that the sphere's properties defied conventional explanations. For the villagers, the idea that the sphere might be alien in origin was both exciting and terrifying. Some saw it as a potential breakthrough, proof that humanity was not alone in the universe. Others feared what such an object could mean, worrying that it might signal an impending invasion or a warning of some kind. Regardless of their stance, one thing was clear: the sphere had sparked a debate that extended far beyond their small community. Section 3: Government cover-ups or misinterpretations. As the mystery surrounding the sphere deepened, speculation began to grow about the role of the government in the investigation. Many villagers noticed the sudden presence of unmarked vehicles and officials in suits visiting the site, often late at night. Though local authorities initially managed the case, it became clear that higher levels of government were taking an interest in the events unfolding in the remote Norwegian village. Rumors of a cover-up began to circulate. Some villagers claimed to have seen armed personnel removing the sphere under the cover of darkness, though these reports were never verified. Others believed the government was deliberately withholding information, either because they had determined the sphere to be a threat, or because they had uncovered evidence of its extraterrestrial origin. The absence of any official statements only fueled suspicions. "We deserve to know the truth," one villager remarked. "If this thing is dangerous, we should be warned. If it's not, then why the secrecy?" Adding to the mystery were reports of similar incidents in other countries. Declassified documents from the United States, for example, described objects with similar properties being recovered during the mid-20th century. Though these accounts often lacked hard evidence, the parallels were striking enough to convince some that the Norwegian sphere was not an isolated phenomenon. If the government was aware of other such cases, their reluctance to disclose information might be part of a broader pattern of secrecy. Skeptics, however, offered a different perspective. They suggested that what appeared to be a cover-up might simply be mismanagement or confusion. The sphere's inexplicable properties and the strange events surrounding it could have left officials just as baffled as the villagers. "Sometimes the government doesn't have answers either," one investigator noted. "Secrecy can be a way to avoid admitting that they don't know what's going on." Regardless of the truth, the lack of transparency left a lasting impact on the villagers. Many felt abandoned. their fears and questions dismissed by those in power. To this day, the role of the government in the sphere's investigation remains a topic of debate, with no clear resolution in sight. Whether the events were part of a larger conspiracy or simply a case of unexplained phenomena. The uncertainty surrounding the case ensured its place as one of Norway's most enduring mysteries. Chapter 5: Historical context of similar phenomena. Section 1: Other mysterious disappearances worldwide. The strange disappearance of the man who touched the sphere is not the first case of its kind. Throughout history, there have been reports of people vanishing under mysterious and often unexplainable circumstances. While many of these cases remain unsolved, they share eerie similarities that suggest a deeper pattern of unknown forces at play. One of the most famous cases is the disappearance of the Roanoke colony in the late 16th century. Over 100 settlers vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the word Croatoan carved into a tree. Historians and archaeologists have long debated the fate of the colonists, with theories ranging from hostile encounters with indigenous tribes to starvation, or even supernatural intervention. The lack of evidence has kept the mystery alive, much like the case of the Norwegian sphere. Another unsettling event occurred in 1959 in Russia's Ural Mountains, known as the Dyatlov Pass incident. 9 experienced hikers were found dead under bizarre circumstances, with injuries that could not be easily explained. Some were discovered with crushed ribs, others with severe head trauma, yet there were no external wounds. Adding to the mystery, their bodies were found scattered across the snowy terrain, and some showed signs of radiation exposure. Theories about their deaths range from secret military experiments to encounters with unidentified flying objects. In more recent times, the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 in 2014 shocked the world. Despite extensive search efforts, the wreckage of the plane and the fate of its 239 passengers remain largely unknown. Investigators have explored numerous possibilities, from mechanical failure to hijacking, but no definitive explanation has emerged. The sudden and complete loss of the aircraft mirrors the abrupt disappearance of the man who interacted with the sphere. Even smaller-scale incidents share parallels with the Norwegian case. In 1978, an Australian pilot named Frederick Valentich disappeared while flying over the Bass Strait. Before losing contact, Valentich reported seeing a large, metallic object hovering near his plane. His final transmission described the object as not an aircraft. Neither Valentich nor his plane was ever found, leaving investigators with more questions than answers. These disappearances, while separated by time and geography, share a common thread of unexplained phenomena. They often involve witnesses who describe unusual objects, strange lights, or inexplicable environmental changes, much like the events in Norway. For many researchers, these cases are reminders that there are still forces in our world, and perhaps beyond it, that remain beyond human understanding. Section 2: Previous encounters with unexplained objects. The mysterious sphere in Norway is not the first unexplained object to baffle scientists and the public. Throughout history, numerous strange artifacts and unidentified objects have been discovered, many of which defy conventional explanation. These encounters have often fueled speculation about advanced civilizations, secret technologies, and even extraterrestrial involvement. One of the earliest recorded cases comes from 1808 in Sweden. A group of farmers reportedly witnessed a glowing orb fall from the sky and land in a nearby field. When they approached, they found a metallic object, perfectly spherical and cool to the touch. However, before they could investigate further, the object emitted a flash of light and disappeared without a trace. Though dismissed by skeptics as folklore, the story bears striking similarities to the Norwegian incident. Another well-documented case is the Betz sphere, discovered in 1974 by a family in Florida, USA. The small metallic sphere, found lying in a forest, exhibited bizarre behaviors when handled. It rolled uphill, seemingly defying gravity, and emitted strange vibrations. Scientists who studied the object were unable to determine its origin or purpose, leading to speculation that it might be a piece of alien technology or a secret military experiment. Despite extensive analysis, the Betz sphere remains an unsolved mystery. To this day, in the deserts of Saudi Arabia, reports of strange metallic fragments have also intrigued researchers. During the 1950s, pieces of an unknown alloy were recovered after a series of bright lights were seen streaking across the sky. The material was resistant to extreme heat and pressure, much like the sphere in Norway. Some theorists believe these fragments could be remnants of an alien spacecraft, though no definitive proof has ever been found. More recently, in 2003, a team of geologists in Siberia uncovered a set of perfectly round stone spheres buried deep beneath the permafrost. While these were determined to be natural formations, their uncanny resemblance to man-made artifacts sparked debate about their origins. Could natural forces alone create objects so symmetrical? Or were they evidence of an ancient, advanced civilization? These encounters with unexplained objects share key similarities with the Norwegian sphere: their mysterious appearances, unusual physical properties, and the inability of experts to identify their origins. Whether natural, man-made, or something entirely different, such objects challenge our understanding of the world and suggest that many mysteries remain hidden beneath the surface of our reality. Section 3: Could they all be connected? As researchers and theorists delved into the strange case of the Norwegian sphere, a provocative question emerged: could this incident be part of a larger, interconnected pattern? Throughout history, reports of unexplained objects, strange disappearances, and mysterious phenomena have surfaced in seemingly unrelated locations. Yet, when viewed together, they suggest the possibility of a hidden link that defies traditional explanations. One theory suggests that these phenomena are the work of a single, advanced intelligence observing humanity over centuries. Proponents of this idea point to the recurring themes in these cases: glowing orbs, metallic artifacts, and inexplicable vanishings. These similarities, they argue, are too consistent to be mere coincidence. Perhaps the Norwegian sphere is one piece of a much larger puzzle, part of an ongoing interaction between humans and forces beyond our understanding. Others propose that the connection lies not in the objects themselves, but in the way humans perceive them. Psychological theories suggest that people may be predisposed to interpret the unknown in similar ways, influenced by cultural myths and shared fears. This perspective raises the possibility that events like the Norwegian sphere are not inherently linked, but instead reflect humanity's collective reaction to the unexplainable. There is also the possibility that these events are connected through natural phenomena that science has yet to fully understand. Some researchers have speculated about energy anomalies in the Earth's magnetic field or other environmental factors that could create unusual effects. While this explanation doesn't account for every detail, such as the precise craftsmanship of the sphere, it offers a grounded alternative to theories involving extraterrestrial or supernatural forces. A more fringe theory suggests that these phenomena represent distortions in time or space. Could the Norwegian sphere, the Betz sphere, and other such objects be artifacts from a parallel dimension or another timeline. This idea, while speculative, has gained traction among physicists, exploring concepts like multiverses and wormholes. Despite the many theories, no definitive connection between these incidents has been established. What remains clear is that the Norwegian sphere is not an isolated anomaly. It joins a long list of unsolved mysteries that challenge the boundaries of human knowledge. Whether these cases are linked by an underlying cause or simply by their shared strangeness, they remind us of the vast, unexplored potential of the universe and our limited understanding of it. Chapter 6: Alternate Theories and Speculation. Section 1: Was the sphere a hoax? As with many mysterious phenomena, skepticism quickly emerged as a counterbalance to the growing fascination with the Norwegian sphere. Some argued that the entire incident could have been an elaborate hoax, staged to mislead the public or draw attention to the remote village. While the idea of a hoax seems far-fetched, given the sphere's reported properties, it is a theory that cannot be entirely dismissed. Skeptics point to the lack of concrete evidence beyond eyewitness accounts. Photographs of the sphere, if they existed, were either not released or had been lost over time, leaving much of the story reliant on oral testimony. This gap in documentation has fueled doubts about the incident's authenticity. Could the villagers have exaggerated or misinterpreted what they saw? Some skeptics suggest that fear and excitement may have led to collective embellishment, turning an ordinary object into something extraordinary. Another possibility is that the sphere was a man-made object, introduced as a prank or experiment. Given the Cold War context, some have speculated that it could have been a prototype for a classified project. For example, it might have been a test of advanced materials or equipment designed to monitor atmospheric conditions. However, the sphere's seemingly indestructible surface and massive weight challenge this theory. As such, technology would have been unprecedented at the time. Those who believe the event was a deliberate hoax often cite the absence of follow-up investigations. If the sphere was as remarkable as reported, why didn't major scientific institutions or governments publicly pursue the case? Critics argue that the lack of transparency suggests either that the event was exaggerated or that its significance was overstated by local witnesses. Despite these doubts, there are elements of the story that are difficult to explain away. The disappearance of the man, in particular, remains the most puzzling aspect of the case. Even the most ardent skeptics struggle to reconcile this event with the idea of a mere hoax. If the sphere was planted or fabricated, how could it account for such a mysterious and permanent loss? Ultimately, while the hoax theory offers a more grounded explanation, it does not fully address the complexities of the case. The possibility of human fabrication is intriguing, but the unresolved details leave enough room for doubt and for the mystery to endure. Section 2: Secret military experiments in Norway. Another prominent theory surrounding the Norwegian sphere is that it might have been the result of a secret military experiment. During the Cold War, Norway's strategic location near the Soviet Union made it a key player in NATO's defense network. This period was marked by heightened technological competition and covert projects, leading some to speculate that the sphere could have been an advanced prototype for military purposes. Supporters of this theory point to the sphere's extraordinary physical properties. The material's durability, its massive weight, and its interaction with electromagnetic fields all suggest that it could have been a product of cutting-edge research. Perhaps it was designed as part of an experimental weapons program, or as a surveillance device intended to gather intelligence in remote areas. If this were the case, its creators may have deliberately chosen an isolated Norwegian village as a testing ground to minimize exposure. The involvement of military officials in the investigation has also raised eyebrows. Eyewitnesses reported seeing unmarked vehicles and personnel near the site, fueling speculation that the government was attempting to recover a lost or malfunctioning piece of classified technology. If the sphere was indeed part of a secret project, its recovery would likely have been treated as a top priority, explaining the lack of transparency surrounding the incident. However, there are significant challenges to this theory. For one, the sphere's apparent indestructibility and unexplained energy properties seem far beyond the capabilities of 20th-century technology. Even today, the ability to create a seamless, impenetrable object of such density remains out of reach. Critics argue that attributing these features to Cold War-era experiments is highly implausible. Additionally, the disappearance of the man who touched the sphere complicates the narrative. If the object were a military prototype, why would it cause such a bizarre and catastrophic event? Some theorists suggest that the sphere could have been a dangerous and incomplete experiment, abandoned after unforeseen consequences arose. Others speculate that it might have been designed to interact with its environment in ways that were never fully understood, leading to unintended side effects. Despite these uncertainties, the idea of a military connection remains compelling to many. Norway's geopolitical importance and its history of cooperation with NATO provide a plausible context for secretive activities in the region. Whether the sphere was the result of advanced experimentation or something far stranger, its appearance in a remote village continues to spark debate about the shadowy intersection of science and national defense. Section 3: The psychological impact of unsolved mysteries. Unsolved mysteries like the Norwegian sphere do more than spark curiosity. They leave a profound psychological imprint on those who encounter them. For the villagers who witnessed the sphere's sudden appearance and the man's unexplainable disappearance, the event was more than just a momentary shock. It became a lingering source of fear, fascination, and even existential questioning. One of the most immediate psychological effects of such mysteries is the fear of the unknown. The villagers, who had led quiet lives in a remote community, suddenly found themselves face to face with something that defied all logic and understanding. The sphere's unexplainable properties and the man's disappearance introduced a new kind of vulnerability, one that could not be addressed through traditional means like police action or scientific explanation. This uncertainty created a lasting sense of unease, as if the event had permanently altered their perception of reality. At the same time, the mystery also sparked intense fascination. The human mind is wired to seek explanations, and unsolved phenomena often compel people to fill in the blanks with their own theories. For some, this was an opportunity to explore ideas about extraterrestrial life or advanced technology. For others, it led to more grounded, but equally imaginative speculations about secret experiments or natural anomalies. These attempts to make sense of the incomprehensible are not just intellectual exercises. They are ways of regaining control in the face of the inexplicable. However, unsolved mysteries can also divide communities. In the Norwegian case, differing opinions about the sphere's origin likely created tension among the villagers. While some may have leaned toward supernatural or extraterrestrial explanations, others might have dismissed the event as a hoax or misunderstanding. These divisions can persist for years, shaping local narratives and even relationships within the community. On a broader scale, mysteries like this one have a universal appeal that transcends borders and cultures. They tap into humanity's deepest questions: are we alone in the universe? What forces shape our reality? By remaining unsolved, such cases become a canvas for collective imagination, inspiring everything from scientific inquiry to works of art and fiction. At the same time, they remind us of the limits of human knowledge, challenging our sense of certainty and control. For the villagers of Norway, the sphere remains an enduring symbol of both wonder and unease. It has left them with stories to tell, questions to ponder, and a reminder that some mysteries are destined to remain just that, mysteries. Chapter 7: Legacy of the Mystery. Section 1: How the case has remained unsolved. Decades have passed since the mysterious sphere appeared in Norway, yet the case remains as unresolved as the day it began. Despite the efforts of scientists, investigators, and theorists, no definitive explanation has ever been found for the sphere's origin, purpose, or the disappearance of the man who touched it. This lack of closure has only deepened the mystery, ensuring its place in history as one of the most perplexing unsolved cases. One of the main reasons the case remains unsolved is the absence of conclusive evidence. No samples of the sphere's material were ever recovered, and any photographs or records taken at the time have either been lost or deliberately suppressed. Without these critical pieces of information, modern investigators are left to rely on eyewitness accounts, which, while compelling, cannot provide the scientific data needed to reach a definitive conclusion. Additionally, the lack of transparency from authorities has fueled speculation. Villagers reported seeing government officials and unmarked vehicles near the site, yet no official statement was ever released about the investigation's findings. This silence has led many to believe that key information was withheld from the public, whether to avoid panic or to protect classified projects. If answers do exist, they may be buried deep within government archives, inaccessible to those seeking the truth. The passage of time has also worked against the case. Many of the original witnesses have passed away, and with them, valuable first-hand knowledge of the events. The village itself has changed, with younger generations often viewing the story as more legend than fact. As the memory of the incident fades, the details become harder to verify, leaving gaps in the narrative that may never be filled. Despite these challenges, the mystery endures. It has been the subject of books, documentaries, and countless online discussions, keeping the story alive for new audiences. While some view the lack of resolution as frustrating, others see it as a testament to the complexity and wonder of the unknown. The fact that the sphere has resisted explanation for so long only adds to its mystique, inviting endless speculation and debate. The case's unresolved status is both its greatest strength and its greatest frustration. It reminds us that not every question has an answer, and that some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved, challenging humanity to keep exploring and imagining what lies beyond the limits of our understanding. Section 2: Cultural and Scientific Influence of the Event. The mystery of the Norwegian sphere has left a lasting impact, both culturally and scientifically. While the case remains unsolved, its enigmatic nature has inspired countless debates, artistic creations, and even advancements in scientific curiosity. The event continues to serve as a reminder of the uncharted realms of human knowledge and the enduring allure of the unknown. Culturally, the story of the sphere has woven itself into the fabric of the local community. For the villagers, it has become a tale passed down through generations, often recounted as both a cautionary and wondrous narrative. The disappearance of the man and the strange properties of the sphere have been the subject of local folklore, with some embellishing the details to add supernatural elements. Beyond the village, The story has gained international attention, inspiring documentaries, books, and online forums where enthusiasts dissect every aspect of the case. The sphere has also become a symbol of human curiosity. Artists, writers, and filmmakers have drawn inspiration from its mysterious properties, creating fictional works that explore themes of extraterrestrial life, advanced technology, and the limits of human understanding. These creative interpretations ensure that the story remains relevant, sparking the imaginations of people who may never have heard of the original incident. On the scientific front, the sphere has pushed researchers to question the boundaries of known physics and materials science. Although no direct breakthroughs have been linked to the case, the questions it raises about indestructible materials, energy fields, and gravitational anomalies have inspired speculative research. The incident has also encouraged scientists to take a closer look at other unexplained phenomena, urging them to consider possibilities that may have once been dismissed as implausible. Perhaps most importantly, the case has highlighted the importance of open-mindedness in both science and society. The sphere's existence challenges traditional frameworks of understanding, reminding us that not every phenomenon fits neatly into our current models. For some researchers, it serves as a humbling reminder of how much we still have to learn about the universe. The Norwegian sphere's cultural and scientific legacy is a testament to the power of mystery. While the event itself may never be fully explained, its influence continues to ripple through time, inspiring new generations to question, explore, and imagine the possibilities that lie beyond the known. Section 3. Could we ever find the truth? The question of whether the mystery of the Norwegian sphere can ever be solved continues to captivate those who study the case. Decades after the event, the lack of concrete evidence and the passage of time have made uncovering the truth increasingly difficult. Yet, for some, the hope of finding answers remains alive. One possibility lies in advancements in technology. As scientific instruments become more sophisticated, the ability to analyze materials and detect anomalies has improved dramatically. If the sphere, or an artifact like it, were to resurface, modern tools might finally be able to uncover details that were impossible to detect at the time. Techniques such as advanced spectroscopy, 3D imaging, and quantum-level analysis could potentially reveal the sphere's composition, its internal structure, or even clues about its origin. Another avenue for uncovering the truth could be found in declassified government records. If the Norwegian or allied governments conducted secret investigations into the sphere, those documents might one day be made public. Similar cases from around the world have revealed surprising details once hidden behind layers of secrecy, and it's possible that future disclosures could shed light on what really happened in Norway. However, skeptics argue that too much time has passed to ever reach a definitive conclusion. With many of the original witnesses deceased, and no physical evidence remaining, the case may simply fade into the realm of legend. Some even suggest that the mystery's enduring allure lies in its lack of resolution. Without answers, it remains an open question, endlessly inviting speculation and reinterpretation. For those still searching for the truth, the case is a reminder of the limits of human knowledge and the mysteries that lie beyond. Whether the sphere was an extraterrestrial artifact, a product of advanced human technology, or something entirely different, it has sparked a global conversation about what we know and what we don't. This dialogue ensures that the mystery, whether solved or unsolved, will continue to inspire. In the end, the Norwegian sphere may never fully give up its secrets. But perhaps that's the point. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved. They are meant to challenge us, to push the boundaries of our imagination, and to remind us that the universe is far more complex and mysterious than we could ever comprehend. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.